from early morning, the beginning of the ninth day of the Derek Chauvin trial out in Minneapolis, and a doctor by the name of Martin Tobin, a pulmonologist, I was fascinated at the testimony he gave. While I've been fascinated with a large number of the emotional aspects of the trial, but this Dr. Martin Tobin, it was an extraordinary witness who has 46 years of medical experience in pulmonology, which is the study or the medical science of the breathing apparatus of the lungs, the diaphragm, the trachea, the nose, the mouth, and that kind of anatomy of the body, and also in physiology, which is a science on how the body itself works in terms of its relationship to physics. He's written several books, and one book in particular that has been published, 1,500 pages, that has been called The Bible of Pulmonology by the American Medical Association. And he's 46 years at this point in a little place outside of Dublin, Ireland. I've never heard of him before, but obviously, and he agreed to do this while he's testified in medical malpractice suits for years, and generally gets some sort of a fee for doing so, but he agreed to do this for no fee. And his testimony is going to be hard to overcome. But I can tell you, the defense is going to continue to try to paint George Floyd as having resisted, having died of an epoxy or an asphyxiation, or having died of a drug overdose. And by the way, there was this attempt by the defense yesterday to try to point George Floyd of having said on the police recording system that George Floyd said, "I ate too many drugs." Now, listen, I've been around drugs, drug dealers, drug users, drug sellers, you name it. I've never in my life heard anybody say they ate too many drugs, unless you're talking to a 3-year-old at the table who's like, hey, either y'all took too many drugs, but it wasn't that at all. But because they're trying to point out that the death was the death was a drug overdose. That's what the defense is going to try to do. The problem is that there might be one juror that will believe that in terms of trying to show mercy to the Derek Chauvin, the police officer, and the others that are going to be tried later. But this is, as I stated before, this is a passionate killing. This is, there was a event that took place many years ago, very, very painful. And my friend Leon Monroe, his mother and father, they lived in the same little town there, and one morning they went up a well in that town just before sunrise. I mean, my mother and my father everybody was sleeping, and this well went up. And you got this little rural town. I plan to go to North Carolina this summer and just take some pictures of where I grew up, the farms, the roads, the fields, and everything. I can show you, but this was not in the country area, the farm area. This was in a little bit of the urban area of a town of 3,000 people. And this well went up. The lights went on all over the community that morning. It had been discovered that Leon's mother and father had shot and stabbed each other to death. And I think one of the stabbings, I'm not sure who stabbed, whether it was the wife that stabbed the husband or the husband that stabbed the wife, more than 30 times in 30 different places. And they told me, I didn't see it, that the blood in that house that morning ran from room to room. And they both died there in a pool of blood on top of each other of a shooting and stabbing. And Leon had 2 brothers, one named Frankie and the other name, we call him Courtney. And he had one sister who was older named Doris or something of that nature. And they witnessed their mother and father kill each other because of some sort of other sexual relationship that had been going on. It was painful. It was a painful funeral. It was a painful time. But that passionate killing, and you'll see this where husbands and wives or people kill each other. Derek Chauvin had lost his insanity. That man lost his, there's a statement born in the 60s of man's inhumanity to man. I don't know whether it was a Russian, if you will, tourist that came to America, or some other philosopher that came up with that phrase that man is inhuman to his own species, man's inhumanity to man. But there needs to be a psychologist. Now, I don't know if the defense, the prosecution is planning on bringing a psychologist to this, but there needs to be a psychological analyzing, or at least scenarios of a passion killing. This was not police work, and every damn body knows that. This was not police work. This was a man on a vendetta to kill George Floyd, and he did. However, many of you will probably raise the question, well, that Pastor Man, that's obvious. You're not telling us anything new. We can see this hell ourselves, that this was a passion killing, that this was more than just, because usually people kill you and they're going about their damn business. This man kept his knee on George Floyd's neck for 3 minutes and 27 seconds after the man was dead, and he knew he was dead. And Derek Chauvin knew enough about that prone position and his police training that you can't keep a person like that for a period of time, but otherwise because you risk death. He knew that. They all knew that. But the question, the humdinger, the granddaddy, the big dog of questions is this: it's what about those other 3 police officers that helped him? This is sick as hell. Okay, all right. You got George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. Hell, they fighting in a housing development down there in Florida, and one shoots the other. Okay, what the hell? You got Michael Brown out there in Ferguson, Missouri, and the police officer, and he reaches the police, gets the police gun, the police busts a cap on his butt. All right, okay, we understand that. Or even if you got Eric Garner out there in Staten Island, and got this little old police officer jumped on his back like he's trying to have sex with him and grabs him by the neck. Okay, all right, it's murder as well. But what about these other 3 police officers that calmly, this stuff, I almost said a profane word there. I almost said a feces word. This stuff is sick. They were as calm as damn cucumbers. This is sick as hell. This is sick. This is demonic. Hell, even the devil would look at this and say, my God, I don't know if the devil will call upon the Lord, you know what I mean? But, they very calmly watched this go down. And, this EMS worker, the EMT worker, emergency medical technician, fire department person came and said, get up off and let me take it there. They wouldn't do it. It's one thing for Derek Chauvin to be sick and be angry over sexual issues of a woman, probably that George Floyd took his woman, But these other 3, that just calmly watched this. Nobody said, hey, bro, come on now. Hey, bro, that's enough. Go ahead. We got him now. We got him. No, they just stayed the hell there till somebody they had to call the police on the police. The brutality of this, the inhumanity of this, it is unprecedented. I think the whole world is watching this. But you know what? I don't want to tell you this, but I gotta, I got to do this. They may find that boy not guilty. There could be a demon on that jury. We have to understand demonology, and I think that if I ever gave the Catholic Church credit for anything, they did a systematic study of demonology. Now, the Pentecostals and the Baptists, they talk about casting out demons and talking in tongues, but they don't really know nothing about demonology. They have no idea of the sense of it or the ancients of it or how to approach demonology. But the Catholic Church does. They really do. Or they did. I don't know if they're doing it anymore. But they're going to have to bring in the aspect of demonology. And this was not just about racism. It wasn't at all. While that may have been a component, but it was low down on the scale. This was about demonology against George Floyd. And that demonic spirit spread among the other 3 police officers one that stood there and just kept the crowd at bay while the other stood there. I mean, listen, can I talk to you for just a second? Okay, this is Pastor Manning. I get down on my knees often to pray. I do. No, I do. I do. But after you're on your knees for a little while, your back begins to ache attack, right? You got that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes. You're down on your knees 10 minutes with nothing to lean against. Your back begins to ache. You want to get up and take a break, right? Come on now. Come on. You want to get up and take a bit of a break, and if you're leaning on something like a chair or some other floor or something, then you can. When I'm praying for a long time, then I just fall down on my elbows so I can give my back a rest, my backbone. Damn, these boys, Derek Chauvin was there for 10 minutes with his hand in his pocket, a wreck. It's like a demon took over that damn boy. He was there straight up, and didn't move. At one point, he was balancing his whole weight on George Floyd's neck. The average person would just say, hell, my back is aching. I want to kill him, but my back is aching. Let me get up, take a break. And the other three did the same damn thing. Somebody need to get in there and start talking about demonology. Because this ain't even a regular racial killing. This ain't even that. This goes deep into where we are. I don't want to make any forecasts. He should be found guilty, and hell, were it me, if I had the judge of this, I'd call his mama and make her serve. I call Derek Chauvin's mama and sentence her to life prison for giving birth to this demon. But somebody might find that boy innocent. And if they do, it's going to wreck the world. People in Russia are not going to like that. But hell, I'm telling you, this thing ain't over with yet. This thing ain't over with yet. And you may see stuff that you have never seen before. At any rate about it, I'm James David Manning. I'm the Lord's servant. And I'll be right back. This is a bit of a news blog we do looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.